The text arrived at 8:23 p.m. during our first dance. My wedding reception was in full swing, 200 guests. String quartet playing Pachelbel's Canon, my new wife Emma radiant in her dress. My phone buzzed in my jacket pocket. I normally would have ignored it, but Emma felt it too and whispered, "Check it." Might be important. I pulled out my phone discreetly. "Charlotte, hey big bro. Mom and I talked. We've decided I should get Grandpa's estate when it's distributed." "You don't need it, you're marrying a lawyer, lol. Don't be difficult. It's just a house and some land. Family decision is made." I stopped dancing, read it again. Grandpa's estate. The 40-acre property in Willamette Valley. The farmhouse built in 1887. The land that had been in our family for 4 generations. Worth approximately $2.4 million. The estate that Grandpa's will explicitly left to be divided equally between Charlotte and me. Emma felt me tense. "What's wrong?" I showed her the text. My wife Emma Chun, estate litigation attorney at Portland's most prestigious firm, read it once. Then looked across the room where my mother and Charlotte were standing together, watching us. Mom actually had the audacity to nod and smile, as if she'd just done something generous. Emma calmly reached for her purse and pulled out her phone. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Texting my associate. We need documentation started tonight. Your mother and sister just attempted to defraud you of your inheritance at your wedding reception. That's bold, even by my standards. Emma, it's our wedding night, which makes this even more egregious. They waited until they had you at your most vulnerable, surrounded by witnesses, trying to make you agree to something under social pressure." She was typing rapidly. "Trust me, Daniel. This is what I do." The background to this moment stretched back 6 months to my grandfather's death. Grandpa Henry had been a farmer, a veteran, and the kindest man I'd ever known. He'd raised me as much as my parents had, teaching me about the land, about integrity, about keeping your word. His will was crystal clear. I'd seen it myself when he'd shown it to me 2 years before he died. "Daniel," he'd said, sitting in his farmhouse kitchen, "this land goes to you and Charlotte equally, 50-50. Your mother's not in this will because I gave her and your father their share when they bought their house in 1998. This is for you and your sister. Promise me you'll take care of it." I'd promised. The will stated exactly that. The estate would be divided equally between his grandchildren, Daniel Robert Morrison, and Charlotte Ann Morrison. There was no ambiguity. No room for interpretation. But Mom had been named executor. And over the past 6 months, she'd been making concerning noises. "Charlotte needs this more than you do. She's struggling financially. You have a good job. She's still finding her way." Grandpa would have wanted to help Charlotte. She was always his favorite. That last one was a lie. Grandpa had loved us equally and shown it equally. But Charlotte was 35, unmarried, chronically underemployed, and had a pattern of financial disasters. She'd burned through 2 inheritance advances Grandpa had given her during his life, $50,000 each time, both gone within a year. I was 37, a software engineer, financially stable, and about to marry Emma. In Mom's worldview, that meant I didn't need the inheritance. Never mind, that need wasn't the criterion. Grandpa's will was the criterion. Emma sent her text, then turned to me. "Don't respond to Charlotte yet. We're going to handle this properly. What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking your mother has 6 months to file the estate with probate. I'm thinking she's been delaying that filing. And I am thinking she and Charlotte are trying to pressure you into signing away your rights before the estate goes through legal channels. You think Mom would actually commit fraud?" Emma looked at me with the expression she reserved for naive clients. "Daniel, your mother is attempting to redistribute estate assets against the explicit terms of a will. Yes, I think she would commit fraud. She probably thinks it's just family business and doesn't count as real fraud." She was probably right. At 8:47 p.m., Emma's associate responded, "Documents pulled. Estate not yet filed with probate. Executor has 4 weeks before missing the 6-month deadline. Want me to file a motion?" Emma typed back, "Monday morning. File petition to remove executor for failure to perform fiduciary duties. I'll call you tomorrow with details." Then she smiled at me. Now, where were we? I believe we were dancing. We finished our first dance, cut the cake, made toasts, enjoyed our reception. And across the room, Mom and Charlotte kept watching us, waiting for a response that wasn't coming. And, at 10:15 p.m., as Emma and I were saying goodbye to guests, Charlotte cornered me near the coat check. Did you get my message? I did. And? And I'm not discussing estate business at my wedding reception. It's not estate business. It's just family. Mom and I agreed this is the right thing. Charlotte, Grandpa's will specifies equal distribution. That's not negotiable. But I need it more than you. You're marrying someone who makes like $300,000 a year. Several guests turned to look. Emma appeared at my side. Charlotte, is it? I'm Emma, the wife who apparently makes decisions about my husband's inheritance. Her smile was pure steel. Let me be very clear. Daniel's inheritance is governed by his grandfather's will, not by family consensus. Any attempt to change that distribution will be met with immediate legal action. Are we understood? Charlotte's face went red. You're going to sue your own family? I'm going to enforce the legal rights of my husband, yes. Whether that requires litigation depends entirely on whether your mother fulfills her fiduciary obligations as executor. Mom said you'd be difficult. Your mother attempted to defraud her own son at his wedding. I'm not being difficult. I'm being appropriate. Emma's voice never rose, never wavered. Now, this is our wedding reception. Please leave Daniel alone. Charlotte fled to find Mom. I looked at my wife. That was professional. That was professional and necessary. They're not going to stop with hints and suggestions, Daniel. They're going to escalate. We need to be ready. We left for our honeymoon to Greece the next morning. Before we boarded the plane, Emma made one call to her office. File everything Monday. Petition to remove executor, motion for full accounting of estate assets, and notice of claim to rightful inheritance. Send copies to the mother and sister. I want this on record before they can do anything else. Emma, is this really necessary? Your mother has had 6 months to file this estate. She's 4 weeks from the legal deadline. She hasn't filed. She's either incompetent or she's stalling. Either way, she needs to be removed. This is going to destroy my relationship with my family. Emma took my hand. Daniel, your mother tried to steal your inheritance at your wedding. That relationship is already destroyed. We're just making sure she doesn't succeed. The legal filings happened Monday morning while we were in Santorini. Emma's associate, James Rodriguez, sent updates via email. Monday 9:47 a.m. Petition to remove executor filed with probate court. Copies served to Sandra Morrison and Charlotte Morrison. Hearing scheduled for 3 weeks from today. Monday 2:34 p.m. Sandra Morrison's attorney called. Claims this is family matter that doesn't need court involvement. I referred him to the petition.
He hung up. Tuesday 11:23 a.m. Charlotte Morrison called office 12 times.
Receptionist following protocol referring all calls to me. I'm not responding. Wednesday 3:15 p.m. Sandra Morrison filed response claiming she was waiting for family agreement before filing estate. Judge ordered full accounting of all estate assets by Friday. Emma read the updates over breakfast in our hotel room. They're panicking. Good. My mom's going to hate you. Your mom is going to hate that she can't manipulate you anymore. There's a difference. She squeezed my hand. I know this is hard. But Daniel, they were counting on you being too nice, too conflict-averse, too family-oriented to fight back. That's not love. That's exploitation. We returned from Greece 2 weeks later to find our mailbox stuffed with letters from family members. Aunt Patricia, how could you sue your own mother? Over money? Family is more important than property. Uncle Jim, your grandfather would be ashamed of the way you re-treating your mother and sister, Cousin Michelle. Emma has changed you. You used to care about family. Now it's all about money and lawyers. And from Charlotte, you've ruined everything. Mom is having anxiety attacks. I can't believe you'd do this to us over a stupid house. I hate you. Emma read through them all with professional detachment. Standard pressure campaign. Trying to make you feel guilty so you'll back down. Ignore all of them. These are my family members, Emma. These are people who are fine with you being defrauded as long as it benefits Charlotte. That's not family. That's a conspiracy. The hearing was scheduled for the following Monday. Saturday morning, my father called. We hadn't heard from him through any of this. Daniel, can we talk? Just you and me? We met at a diner near his office. He looked exhausted. I didn't know, he said immediately. About your mother's plan. About the text at your wedding. She told me she was handling the estate, but I didn't know she was trying to cut you out. Cut me out of half of it. Anyway, I saw the will last week. Your grandfather was explicit, 50-50. Your mother has no legal basis for changing that. No. She genuinely believes Charlotte needs it more, so that makes it okay to override the will. I've tried explaining that's not how estates work. She won't listen. What are you going to do? Dad rubbed his face. I've hired a divorce attorney. I can't be married to someone who'd steal from her own son. This isn't the woman I thought I married. I hadn't expected that. Dad, I don't want to be the reason. You're not. This is about integrity. Your mother violated yours, and that violates mine. We're done. The probate hearing was straightforward. Judge Anderson reviewed the petition, the will, and the timeline. Miss Morrison, she addressed my mother, you were appointed executor 6 months ago. The estate has still not been filed with this court. Can you explain the delay? Mom's attorney, a family friend doing her a favor, stammered through an explanation about waiting for family consensus on distribution. Judge Anderson cut him off. The will specifies distribution. There's nothing to reach consensus about. Why hasn't the estate been filed? My client was attempting to honor what she believed her father's true wishes were. The will contains her father's true wishes. They're explicit and unambiguous. Judge Anderson looked at my mother directly. Mrs. Morrison, did you or did you not attempt to convince your son to relinquish his claim to half of this estate? Mom's lawyer whispered to her. She nodded. Yes, Your Honor, but only because Charlotte needs. The needs of beneficiaries are not the executor's concern. The terms of the will are the executor's concern. You have failed in your fiduciary duty. The ruling was swift. Mom was removed as executor. A professional estate administrator was appointed. The estate was ordered filed within 2 weeks. In the hallway afterward, Mom confronted Emma. This is your fault. You've poisoned my son against his own family. Emma's response was calm. I've protected my husband's legal rights. If you'd honored your father's will as written, none of this would have been necessary. Charlotte needs that money. Then she should have been included in the will. She wasn't. Your father chose to divide the estate equally between his grandchildren. That was his right. You have no right to override it. Family takes care of family. Yes, Emma said quietly. Family does. Your father took care of his grandchildren equally, as he stated he would. You attempted to take care of one at the expense of the other. Those aren't the same thing. The professional estate administrator was efficient and thorough. Within 3 weeks, we discovered several concerning things. 1. Mom had been living in Grandpa's farmhouse rent-free since his death, claiming she was maintaining the property. Professional property management would have cost $18,002. She'd sold off $34,000 worth of farm equipment and kept the money, claiming it was for estate expenses. 3. She'd allowed Charlotte to remove furniture, artwork, and personal items worth approximately $27,000. Total misappropriation, $79,000. The estate administrator filed a report with the court. Judge Anderson was not pleased. Mrs. Morrison, you've removed or sold assets totaling nearly $80,000 from an estate you were supposed to be preserving. I'm ordering you to repay the entire amount to the estate within 90 days or face contempt charges. Mom started crying. I don't have that kind of money. Then you shouldn't have stolen it, Judge Anderson said flatly. 90 days. Charlotte sent one final text. I hope you're happy. Mom's losing her house to pay back the estate. Dad's divorcing her. The family is destroyed. All because you couldn't just share. Grandpa would hate who you've become. I finally responded. Grandpa made his wishes clear in his will. I'm honoring them. Mom attempted to violate them. These are consequences of her choices, not mine. I'm sorry, you can't see that. She blocked me. Emma read the exchange and shook her head. They'll never accept responsibility. To them, you're the villain because you refused to be stolen from. Does it ever stop feeling awful? Eventually. When you realize that feeling awful about enforcing boundaries is exactly how they controlled you for years. The estate was finally properly distributed 4 months after our wedding. Charlotte received $1.2 million. So did I. She bought a condo and, according to my father, went through $300,000 in the first year on a new car, furniture, and a series of trips. I invested mine conservatively, used some to buy Emma and me a house, and set aside funds for our future children's education. Mom had to sell her house to repay the $79,000 she'd misappropriated. She moved into a small apartment and stopped speaking to me entirely. Dad finalized his divorce and started a relationship with a woman he met through his church. Someone who values honesty, he told me. 1 year after the wedding, Emma and I visited Grandpa's farmhouse. The estate administrator had sold it to a young family who loved the property and planned to restore it. We walked the land one last time. Do you think your grandfather would approve? Emma asked. Of the legal fight? I think he'd approve of me standing up for what he put in writing. He was big on keeping your word. Even when it cost you your relationship with your mother? He'd say the relationship was already gone when she tried to steal from me. We just made it official. Emma squeezed my hand. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Standing up to family is harder than standing up to strangers. 2 years after the wedding, Charlotte reached out through my father. She wanted to meet. To talk. We met at a neutral coffee shop. She looked older, more worn. I've been in therapy, she said. Working through some things about Mom, about money, about entitlement. Okay. My therapist helped me understand that Mom raised me to believe I deserved special treatment because I needed it more. That other people's rights didn't matter if I had needs. Yes, she did. And I'm sorry for the text at your wedding, for supporting Mom's plan, for calling you selfish when you were just protecting what was legally yours. It was the first real apology I'd heard from her. Thank you for saying that. I'm not asking for a relationship. I don't think we're there. But I wanted you to know I understand now. What Mom did was wrong. What I went along with was wrong. And Emma wasn't the villain. She was protecting you from us. I appreciate that. Are you Are you doing okay? With your half of the estate? We're doing well. We bought a house. We're expecting a baby in March. Charlotte's face did something complicated. Congratulations. Really, Grandpa would have loved that. He would have. We didn't become close, but we were civil after that. She sent a gift when our daughter was born. I sent a thank you note. It was enough. 3 years after my wedding reception, I thought about that text. Mom decided I get the estate. Don't be difficult. And Emma reaching for her phone, calm and certain, ready to fight. Some people thought she'd been too aggressive, too quick to lawyer up, too unwilling to work it out as a family. But Emma had seen what I'd been too close to see. This wasn't a family disagreement. It was attempted theft, dressed up in the language of family values. If I'd responded to that text with anything other than immediate legal action, I'd have been pressured to sign documents, to be reasonable, to think of Charlotte. And I'd have lost $1.2 million because I was too nice to fight back. Instead, I had a wife who understood that protecting the people you love sometimes means fighting the people who claim to love you. Our daughter, Grace, was 2 now. We'd used part of my inheritance to set up a trust for her education, one with clear terms, professional management, and no family members as trustees. Learning from experience? Emma had asked when we set it up. Making sure history doesn't repeat, I'd answered. 5 years after the wedding, I received word that my mother had passed away. Heart attack, sudden, age 71. I attended the funeral. So did Emma. Charlotte was there, cordial but distant. In her will, Mom left everything to Charlotte. Her life insurance, her remaining savings, her personal property, about $180,000 total. She'd specifically written, I leave nothing to my son Daniel, who has never needed my help, and made that abundantly clear, even in death, rewriting history. But I didn't need her money, and I didn't need her approval. I had my inheritance from Grandpa, the one he'd intended for me, distributed exactly as he'd specified. I had a wife who'd fought to protect it when my own mother wouldn't. I had a daughter who'd grow up understanding that love doesn't mean accepting mistreatment. And family doesn't mean unlimited access to your resources. And I had peace knowing I'd honored Grandpa's wishes exactly as he'd written them. Some family members still thought Emma had changed me, or poisoned me against family values, but Emma hadn't changed me. She'd just been there at the exact right moment, phone in hand. Attorney's mind engaged when my family tried to steal from me at my own wedding. And she'd reached for her phone instead of excuses. That made all the difference. The estate was mine. The marriage was strong. The boundaries were clear. And I'd learned the most important lesson. Sometimes the people who love you most are the ones who refuse to let others steal from you, even when those others are family. Especially when those others are family. That text had arrived at 8:23 p.m. during my first dance. By 8:47 p.m., my wife had started the legal action that would protect my rights. Best wedding gift I ever received.